Good morning. Before I even start this morning, let me say that I haven't even listened to yesterday's video. I actually turned it on as soon as I had it uploaded, and I went to bed. And when I hit that bed, I was probably out in a minute, two at the most, and slept until I woke up and finally got up around 7 o'clock. Anyway, I wanted to just say that because that's probably the first video that I haven't watched. And I just picked a scab on my nose just a couple minutes ago. I'm trying to get it to stop, blood to stop flowing. That's what do you call that thing that makes my nose erupt? There's a word for it. Anyway, it's not where I am this morning, except it's where I am. There is some focus of attention there. The title for today is Finding the Heart of Compassion in 2012. And I wrote this blurb a little bit ago. My meditation this morning was heavenly. I wanted it to continue. I felt as if I was in the divine heart. Compassion ruled my senses. I saw the human struggle for freedom, the cry for justice, and the longing for truth. I saw three men for whom my prayers merged into the heart of God. James Timothy Turner, James Thomas McBride, and Barack Hussein Obama. As incredible as it may sound, I saw commonality in all three. I know that's a stretch for most people, especially adding Obama. However, he is in the mix, like it or not. This awakening must touch everyone, or it will not happen on the scale called for by the heart of compassion. It must reach everyone for freedom, justice, and truth to prevail. Otherwise, peace on earth will remain but a distant dream for some future time. You all know, if you've been paying attention, that James Timothy Turner is the President of the Republic for the United States of America. Some say self-proclaimed, but he was actually elected by a small group of people, patriots, seeking remedy and seeking to reestablish the Republic as opposed to the corporate government here in the United States on the North American continent. James Thomas McBride is another self-proclaimed. I don't believe he was ever elected to anything. The Postmaster General, which he says is a higher office than President of the United States. Like Tim Turner, James McBride is a patriot, a freedom fighter, someone seeking peace on earth. Unlike Tim Turner, he seems to be beyond the fundamentalism that engulfs much of the Republic movement, or RUSA in particular. He at least is able to recognize the need for operating in peace. Not that Tim Turner doesn't, but fundamentalism is diametrically opposed to peace. Fundamentalism carries on the age-old indoctrination, the dogma that life is all about a battle between good and evil, between Satan and God, with Satan being the god of this world. And that is antithetical to peace. Anybody that holds fundamentalist principles, whether they're Christians, Jews, Muslims, Hindus, Buddhists, whatever religion you embrace, if it's a fundamentalist religion, basing its things on what God said back then or on what was revealed back then at some previous time, you're going to miss the boat, because you have to hear God and be in the heart of God where we are now in 2012. It's not that it doesn't matter what happened back then, but it does matter that we hear the voice of God and that we touch the heart of God today in this generation. Now we must tune our ears and tune our hearts to that still small voice that speaks within us all. The heart is not desperately wicked. It's desperately longing for peace. It's desperately longing for freedom. The heart recognizes that the world we've been living in is antithetical to its own nature, which is why it creates so much discomfort for us as the emotions, that the so-called negative emotions, come up, and we struggle, and we struggle. And yet there's some New Age teachings that say, stop struggling. It's just an illusion. Turn your attention somewhere else. No, our attention must be turned on where the issue is. That's where the issue is. If you turn your attention somewhere else, you're not embracing your humanity. You're rejecting your humanity. And that's a false teaching of the New Age. But Mr. McBride does seem to embrace a wider panorama of reality than Mr. Turner, because he seems to have advanced beyond the fundamentalism, at least the fundamentalism of the old religions, the religions that have been around for over 1,000 years. And he's more into perhaps a New Age religion, but that's got its own traps too. Just like the old ones had their traps, New Age theology has its traps as well. Why did I put Obama in the mix with these two men that want freedom, that have been using some of the same principles that they've discovered in studying the laws as they exist in the book, the commercial code, the admiralty law, common law, studying these things? I see so many similarities between those two men. They've done a lot of the same things. And a lot of the things Mr. McBride has done are the same things Tim Turner has done, and the same reason that Tim Turner is in prison right now, because he listened to people on the inside that set the trap for him, apparently. I don't know all the details, but I see the same trap potential for Mr. McBride, who has achieved some of his thing by the acquiescence, by serving notice, and the acquiescence that they didn't respond. They never respond. It's a given that the people that are holding these offices for the people that they don't even understand, and they're trapped in their own roles and don't see beyond the roles, they're not going to respond to our notices. I know that because I've gone through the exact same thing. It's irrelevant to them from their mindset. It's irrelevant. So we're seeking remedy in a system that is deaf, dumb, and blind, and furthermore, insane. That's the world that we live in, the world that we created, which is why, again, this morning, I did the Ho'oponopono. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. It's my world. I'm part of it. I don't divorce myself from it. I don't say it's an illusion. I don't fall into the trap of, like I did most of my life, of thinking I'm not good enough. I am where I am. And it's enough for this moment, being who I am. But why Obama? Why did you put Obama in with the freedom fighters? with the people that are seeking remedy from the system when Obama is obviously embedded in the system itself. Obama is an enigma. I've been really curious about him since he came on the scene. Some of his early speeches as a senator were inspiring, no doubt about it. When I first heard him, I guess he was one of the keynote speakers, or one of the speakers in the Democratic convention, when the one in I guess '84. I guess that's when I first heard of Barack Obama, and I heard his speech, and it was inspiring. And then when he was running for president, there were people that were saying he was a star. He's a star seed. He's a master from another galaxy, and he's come to help fix things. I want you to know something. I'm a master from other galaxies. Tim Turner is a master from other galaxies. James McBride is a master from other galaxies. Most of us on Earth are masters from other galaxies and from other star systems. None of us are simply and only Earthlings. We've all been seeded here from somewhere else, Obama included. But they said he's going to be the one that's going to turn everything around, and it's going to happen on his watch if it happens in 2012, isn't it? It's going to happen on his watch. But he's an enigma. I mean, I expected when he came into office that maybe I could be wrong. I didn't feel right about him because of the people that surrounded him, George Soros and some of these. And by the way, he came up in my prayers today too. An absolute psychopath from everything that I know about the man. An absolute psychopath that would trade his own people during the Second World War and not even feel bad about it. I mean, he's a horrible individual playing a terrible role. But he's a child of God. See, that's the heart of compassion. When I go into the heart of God, I can't look at anybody as only their role. I can't see them as only their role. I see them as children of God. No matter how far they may have fallen by my appearance, my judgment, they are still children of God. And I look at Barack Obama, the enigma. Is he white? Is he black? Well, he's both. Racially, he's both. Negro and Caucasian. Ah. Is he Muslim or is he Christian? Ah, another enigma. Which is it? Which is it? Is he Muslim or Christian? Was he born in Hawaii or was he born in Kenya? Does he have the right to be president of the corporation known as the United States? Not really. Certainly not of the Republic, according to the constitutions of both, which are very similar, by the way. In any case, he's here. He's holding an office. The eyes of the world see Barack Obama. Some see him with great hope. Others see him with great disgust. Which one is right? Are we going to continue the polarization? Or are we, no matter where we're coming from, no matter what role we've been playing, no matter what ideology we may have adopted, no matter what brainwashing we may have succumbed to, are we going to be able to find the heart of compassion in 2012? Are we going to be able to find it within our hearts to love our neighbor as ourselves, and to go even beyond that and to love those we perceive as enemies? Are we going to be able to fulfill the promises of Christianity, the promises of Islam, the promises of Judaism, the promises of Hinduism, the promises of Buddhism, the promises of Native American and shamanic traditions? Are we going to be able to fulfill that which is in our hearts to create the kingdom of heaven on earth, or to allow the divine to create it in and through us? Are we going to find that heart of compassion and to be able to love? Because that's what it's all about, folks. It's all about that. As long as our warfare mentality continues, we will lose. As long as polarization continues, all of us lose. We either win it together or we don't win it at all, because it requires the heart of compassion. God is love. Period. God is love. God is all and in all. Christ is all and in all. Buddha is all and in all. And as for the Muslims, Muhammad did not teach the Muslims to hate. In fact, the Muslims' tradition recognizes the old, what we call the Old Testament of the Holy Bible. It recognizes that. It recognizes them as prophets. And it doesn't look for Muhammad to return. It looks for Jesus, or Jesus, or the Christ to return. Interesting, isn't it? Isn't it? How Judaism, Christianity, and Islam are sprout from the same Abrahamic roots. Isn't it interesting? Are we going to be able to love each other and to respect people of the book, which is the fundamentalists? Are we going to be able to love enough that we can find compassion for one another and learn to work together? Learn to see the similarities as more important than the differences? Are we going to be able to reach that point in 2012? What miracle is it going to take to turn the hearts of men and women to hearts of compassion, to override the egocentric notions that my religion and my thoughts and my way and my perceptions are the only ones that are right? That's where I was in my meditation this morning, in the heart of compassion, in the divine heart. And what I want more than anything else is to be able to share my love, which is God's love through me, to everyone, and to be able to go beyond my own personal judgments and biases and prejudices into the heart of compassion, because I'm convinced in my heart that that is the only way we can all win. That's the only way we can establish peace on earth. It's the only way we will know the truth about ourselves and about our world. And it's the only way there can be justice on earth. So I pray for James Timothy Turner, James Thomas McBride, and Barack Hussein Obama, that each may play their roles and that each may come into the role or the consciousness of compassion. May we learn to love one another. Namaste.